All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into September 3rd, 2019, and the stock market is going to reverse. And what I mean by this is that it is going to bounce tomorrow. Yes, it's going to rally. And why I'm saying this, and again, I always could be wrong, but here is the basis, and you guys could see the logic behind it. We saw this big drop on Friday. It was related to China calling off the agricultural meeting in Nebraska. Markets started to react. We were waiting on Donald Trump to respond. What was going to happen? He's going to wait till after hours. He didn't respond. Stock sold off. It was so dramatic. And then, as we've learned this weekend, there wasn't any other news. But what we did hear is that China is even announcing that it had nothing to do with trade. And actually, they did it, quote unquote, so that they would not meddle in international politics. They were saying they didn't want the meeting to even look like it had to do with the trade war. So they figured they would schedule the timing at a different point. So it's kind of funny to think about, but this is going to produce a weird result tomorrow. And why I say this is because if you saw the video on Friday, I said the trade war news has been priming for some bad news, and then we kind of saw that happen, and we saw the market respond, and now it dropped. So this reversal of that, or more the positive spin on it, could bring it up, but now the market is going to be a little bit more vulnerable. But I am expecting some sort of move. If anything, we'll probably get a gap up, and then it'll stay up. But that is going to be the key to watch. But if anything, this is going to get us now either into a weird cuckening leading up to all-time highs, or this will be enough to, again, if there's enough shorts and it squeezes things up, this could be enough to really break us past those highs that we could not have broken. But if you look at this on a longer scale, we are caught in this the bigger end of this range here. That's the 7-day, but you bring it down to the 14-day, you'll see we're kind of right in the middle there. So if it does come below there, or if we see it go even further, but if it does bounce, this would solidify a higher range, but we will see. But regardless, though, that is going to set us up for a wide variety of plays. So the keys for tomorrow is just watch out for this. We need to see how the market responds to the reversal of this, and then watching some of the individual plays. So let's just get straight into the plays. As far as what we played over the weekend, we did grab a few different sets of puts. So now that's what I grabbed, a lot of next week puts, and I think some of them are still going to be in play. However, if they do come up, a lot of those are going to get crushed tomorrow, and that's what we talked about. I know we got the Boeing put, we got the Intel puts, we got the Boeing puts. Oh, we got Fitbit calls. I remember they had that buyout rumor. Then the Caterpillar ones, and then the rest, those already expired. Those are weekly. But as far as the Caterpillars, I think those ones might not decrease too much. The Boeings were expensive, and this one I said I'm even going to want to average down on it. That's the whole point of going cheap, but these are going to get crushed, so we'll see how that responds there. But depending on how the market takes tomorrow, I probably won't average down, and we'll just take the loss on those. I know some people say, well, should we cut losses? That's the issue, because it's saying, well, I don't really know. Again, it's how the market interprets all this, or if any other negative stuff comes out, who knows what it's going to lead there. As far as what to watch tomorrow now, on the upside, if there is a rally, I'm going to like Microsoft. Remember, we've been saying we wanted this. They've sold off pretty hard yesterday or on Friday. We've been looking at that with the buyback. I like where they're at. I like Microsoft on the upside, but now also even the value stocks, I think Walmart's a good one. It didn't really move as much, especially when you start seeing the other companies here. It didn't have that same effect, so they're going to be a good one to watch. But now my favorite, Roku. You guys saw this Friday. It was insane. There's literally 12,000% options. This is going to be a good one to watch, whether it bounces or if it does keep coming lower. I know a lot of people think it's going to come down and fill these gaps, and it's possible, but give it some time. We've been playing that Roku on the credit spread, selling those puts, and it would either go down, pop up in a day, come down. So keep your eye out for that. But on the reverse now, watch Shopify. Shopify dropped a lot too, but when I start flipping this to the daily, you could come back to Roku and see kind of how it looks there. They got absolutely crushed, but Shopify falls along the same boat. These were some of those momentum stocks, so keep an eye on them. If they start to drop, they could go down a lot, or if there is a really big bounce and they bounce with the market, they could go on the upside. But I am more concerned with the downside here, at least scared. And then also McDonald's. This was a momentum stock, and you could see them too. I said watch them with Roku. They didn't drop as hard when you look at it on the daily, but this is the one we sold the credit spread. Watch Home Depot. This was a monster sell-off. If you really put it into context, again, because they opened up higher, but in the last few days, they're starting to give up. So you can kind of see how they start to form and what it does. I'm probably going to be selling credit spreads on this as this comes around. So watch Home Depot. And then my favorite, Baidu. We got the puts on these for October. Those are already up 72%. I like where it's at. I think, again, regardless, I want to see how positive news would affect them, but I'm still seeing downside. Now, again, even though I'm seeing downside, does that mean get into some of these plays? Not necessarily, because the premium is going to be high. If there is an opportunity where premium bounces, that's a different story, but watch Baidu, and I like them. Now, moving on to the main plays we were talking about last week, Bank of America and the banks now. So watch the banks. That's that volume real? I did not see that was the volume. That's 150 volume. Oh, man, that's a lot of volume. I'm kind of baffled right there, but how this plays out will be interesting. Watch the banks again. If there is a bounce, these guys are going to do good, but you can even watch Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan again, and overall XLF. But how the banks respond in that whole repo issue, it's still in play. We heard on Friday that they're going to be doing it for 2 weeks. So now I am getting a little bit worried, but the question is now, how do we identify what's happening with the repo markets and get an actionable play? So again, if we start to see weird movements with banks, and then now also TLT, these went up. Those plays we got on TLT after the Fed, those are already up, I think, 100%. How bonds start to move in some of the yield curve, this is going to give us some insight. So we need to watch out for that and keep our eyes out for that. But this could start to affect that whole repo issue. But overall, I would keep my eyes on TLT, especially the October ones. Those went up. Those November ones are, again, if TLT keeps staying up here, those November contracts we got, those are going to be harder to come down. But the October ones are going to be more susceptible to those quick price changes. And again, last time we saw TLT go up in that fashion, you guys saw, there were plays they would go up 1,000%, then drop 800%, only to be up 2,000% the next day. I'm really starting to see those with the Octobers, if and only if this trend does continue to go up. So watch out for that. But watch out for TLT, Bank of America, and then now watch oil. So there was a report today that is something with the full repair taking a long time, but we might start to hear these issues come back up with what happened in the Saudis. So again, I will be watching the futures tonight. I encourage you, again, watching the futures tonight will tell us about where the market's going to open. It'll tell us here about oil too, but if there is any sort of news along those lines, you could start to see oil watch. So I'm going to watch out for those, and remember, you can watch some of the refiners and all the other companies from Valero to CVX. So keep your eye on that too. But again, it seems like something's happening with oil, and it's just doing this whole back and forth. So we'll see what happens from there. Moving on, though. Keep an eye on healthcare. Again, I'm just saying, watch these. They've been making bigger moves now, and that's what you could see. And hopefully you guys compare. This is Cigna, but again, if you looked at UNH or any of those, you'll see something similar. They're starting to move on bigger daily ranges, and I think it makes sense where the market is, but you can see how it's kind of consolidating. Watch out for that. I know there was talks about some of the Democratic candidates saying some stuff, so that could potentially have an effect, but still, you got to be careful with some of these. Sometimes they'll move a little crazy, but we'll see what happens with them. Then watch Facebook as well, too. Again, we got some of the reports, and it's kind of crazy, man, seeing a lot of these volume blips that we've been seeing from over the weekend. There was a lot of big movements. But watch out for any updates on the antitrust case or anything of that nature. But Facebook's been a little bit stronger. And now to the last chart we got here. Watch Boeing. This is what I said the other day. I said if we do get trade war news, watch towards any of the plays that have been up a lot. And Boeing falls in this category again. Boeing, even Apple's going to be a good one to watch. They did have a reaction yesterday. So I like where they're at, and I like them in general. And depending on the prices, I'll decide to average down or not on those puts, but I probably won't. But watch out for them. And then also now, Disney's a good one. We can't forget. This is part and part what we saw yesterday. Now, I got exercise on those puts, but I like where Disney's at in this range. I might be selling a credit spread on those puts at around the 132 or 131, 130 level. I like how it's kind of stayed in there, but we'll see if it does break out like Roku did. That will not be good, but I like them. And again, I like them on the downside or cuckening, but again, in the sense that they have been moving, and even reference to Netflix too. We can't forget about that. So watch those two. And back to even kind of the Boeing thing I was talking about, watch Intel. We play puts on all these Intels and Caterpillar, and I like all those, and these are the ones that could move if the market moves or are going to have more of an influence on the market move. So watch those. But then lastly, I saw this one as a very interesting one, especially the end of the market move, AT&T. Watch them. I don't know if Verizon did the same, but take a look at them tomorrow. If they keep up with this, I think this is good news. And again, this kind of reminds me of Home Depot here on that first go around where like Home Depot hit the highs, came down, and then started ripping up. I think we could see something there. So again, the volume, we have the old news that it did pop on was the activist investors. So if all of this stays up, I kind of like where it's at. I'm going to keep my eyes on it. But hopefully that was quick, simple, straight to the point. We're going to have to do a lot of observation tomorrow. So hopefully you guys are ready for that. Make sure you guys are ready to go. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy. Make sure you guys are just in the game. We better see you there in the morning. And oh my gosh, maybe I'll put this at the end. I forgot. So shout out if you're watching this long, because you're going to hear this in the beginning, because I'm about to go cut this and say this now. But make sure you guys are ready to go. I'm going to see you in the morning. Keep it positive, respectful. I need you guys get the focus. Our work is cut out for us. We're going to make some moves here. So hopefully you guys watch that. Watch the spread video. You guys saw it. Oh, Robinhood, $30,000. If you had that issue, your Robinhood should be good. So watch all those videos. Post any questions tomorrow or come on stream in the morning. We'll answer them. And don't forget, let's go!